10.
10 minutes on. Hello, Joel. How are you doing today? Just teaching. Hey, we're gonna start on time if y'all get here on time. Go ahead, Rock.
Bo said we can go ahead and start now, so we'll go ahead and start since we was waiting on Bo and Ray to roll up in here. Appreciate y'all making it today. Our crowd's a little thin today, in person and online, and I'd say that's probably because everybody's busy if they hadn't realized it, or they just realized they were busy and thought, well, we ain't gonna be able to make that meeting. You know, one of the biggest things, and I know there's a slide in there talking about it, but the heat is jumped up on us. Summertime's got us real quick. Again, like I said, I know there's a slide in there, but make sure you people staying hydrated with either the Gatorade packets with their water, squenchers, anything like that. They need to get that instead of just water. You said we got
about Hunt. All right. Yeah, they did. I just saw an email. So yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
I got it.
do so. But no, with that, we can do quick introductions and move on. We'll catch everybody in here first, then we'll catch the ones online. We got one that's usually online, but actually made it in person this time.
Joel Calabrese, P&G Damage Prevention.
George Arango, Charlotte Water.
Tracy Taylor, Charlotte Water.
Kyle Kisman, Utility Partners of America.
Cody Shelton with Heath Consultants.
Terry Russell, Heath Consultant.
Ray Smith, Sam.
Lindsay Ponce, Sam.
Hello with Sam.
Robert Neely, Piedmont.
All right. David, you the first one that I see up there on the screen, if you want to introduce yourself.
David Smith. I'm with the University of North Carolina at Charlotte.
Court, you lit up.
Cord Bennett with ITS.
Tristan.
Tristan Teasley with City of Charlotte Stormwater.
Lewis.
Lewis is on there.
Oh, there he is. Hey, sorry, man. I just seen you.
You can see me right here in all my glory. Yep, Lewis Panzer, North Carolina 811.
And Dustin Hubbard with Price Brothers is with us.
Hey, Dustin.
Folks, if you're online, if you will, please keep your mics muted until you need to speak. And then when you want to speak, please unmute. Although, as is pretty typical, if you're muted and you want to talk, everybody and their brother is going to tell you that you're muted.
Well, Joe said a quarter. I was thinking $1. Try to get some lunch money here, but with that, oh, we got another scraggler happened to just try to ease in on us, try to be sneaky and all that.
Here, man.
Who are you?
I'm Daniel Dempsey, supervisor with Charlotte Water Locations.
All right. With that, Tammy, if you want to go through the presentation.
Yes, sir. I sure will. Thank you very much. I don't think I need to tell anybody that it's July. I think we've gotten almost through the better part of it. We're going to pop over into events, and several of these events have already happened, folks, and one is happening today. The state UCC met on the 11th. The big takeaway from that was the election of Sean Kelly from Badger Daylighting as the secretary of the state UCC. On the 18th, the Underground Damage Prevention Review Board met. I know that Ann did say they had a full slate of cases. and made a number of decisions in those cases. The LRPC is meeting in Greensboro at 11 a.m. So they're meeting today. They had to move back the meeting a week. And the board meeting, the North Carolina 811 second quarter board meeting was the 21st, so last Friday in Asheville. Lewis, is there anything that you want to share from the board meeting? I apologize for putting you on the spot so early this morning.
That's all right. That's why I'm here. We had the illustrious Tammy there as well, providing the education updates since Miss Ann was attending the wedding of her daughter on Saturday. But yeah, everything was fine. We passed the budget and the long range plan for 2024, and it was a good meeting. And we look forward to the next one, which will be in Wilmington in October.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. So
So,
I'm going to stop that part so we don't hear the music in the background. Several of you have probably participated in Paradigm trainings previously. Paradigm comes every year and they work with pipeline operators and they do tabletop exercises with first responders, police, fire, and EMS and local contractors at a lunch meeting. They're all over the state. If you're interested, come out to the calendar and check and see if there's one near you. There will be one in Charlotte later in the month of August. There will be one in Hickory. There's also Can You?
yeah, I've just got the icon that shows Mecklenburg, July 2023. It doesn't seem to be displaying on mine. It could just be me. That's why I was asking if anybody else, if everybody else can see it on there, that's fine. I've seen it already, but not sure if anybody else is having that trouble.
Thanks. Tristan or Court, are you able to see the PowerPoint?
Yes, I can see it.
I can see it too.
Excellent.
Thanks,
It's me.
folks.
Thanks.
So Paradigm comes every year and they work with these pipeline operators to offer that training. The last several years, they've done this over a lunchtime. And all this is provided to you at no charge. The pipeline operators are picking this up. Good lunch, great training exercise. It's worth a couple, 3 hours of your day to come out. Again, at no charge to you. Pipeline operators want to make sure you're getting this message. Charlotte, Asheville, Richmond County, Hickory, they'll be all over the state. So if you are looking for something in a particular area, let me know and I will make sure to send an invite to you if that's something you might be interested in attending. As Roger said, and nobody is surprised to find out since it is July, it's hot. It's really hot, y'all. Make sure that your coworkers and your staff know the anticipated heat index for the day and identify precautions in place at the work site to reduce the risk of heat-related illness. If you do so, make sure that you're providing cups along with water. If you're not, make sure your folks are bringing water and or sports drinks and encourage them to drink that throughout the day. Establish a work and rest schedule and set up a buddy system. If you've got somebody that's out, typically we aren't alone, but sometimes you're alone out on a job site. Just check in with each other every once in a while. Make sure everybody's okay. Maintain effective communication with your crew and encourage everyone to wear sunscreen and to use other protection from direct sunlight. I know sometimes folks will set up a canopy to work under. Loose fitting, light colored clothing will help as well. We're going to watch a brief video about heat related death, actually.
And when I got up through the kitchen, I saw a bowl of cereal. He was sitting on the steps putting his work shoes on. And I said, what are you doing? It's 5:30. He goes, I got to be in today at 6. I got to be in earlier. Just from what I knew yesterday, you need to eat your lunch today. You need to drink your water. And he said, okay, I got to get going. I said, okay, have a good day. That's the last time I saw him. I got that terrible call from the sheriff's department. You're not prepared.
Employers can prevent heat illness in the workplace with several straightforward actions. First, develop a heat illness prevention plan that outlines procedures, supplies, and equipment necessary to protect workers from heat exposure. Provide training to managers and workers on the signs and symptoms of heat illness. Nearly 3 out of 4 heat-related fatalities happen during the first week of work. Employers need to make sure that new and returning workers acclimatize or build tolerance to heat. It's important that workers drink water, take rest breaks in the shade or a cool area, and wear a hat and light-colored, loose-fitting, breathable clothing to prevent heat illness. Monitoring workers for signs of heat illness is important. Do verbal checks frequently with workers wearing face coverings or personal protective equipment, such as respirators. And finally, encourage workers to check on each other too. By taking these actions, employers can keep their workers safe and, importantly, prevent fatalities from heat illness, like what happened to Tim Barber.
Y'all, that's scary. 35 years old. Gone. That quick. We'll pop into locate requests, transmissions, ticket volume, and ticket distribution. Locate requests for the month of June, if you can believe it or not, we're actually down just a tiny little bit, 1.2%, 222,088 for the month of June. Locate requests for the year, however, are still up 1.3 million. That is a 6.7% increase over last year at this time, January 1 through June 30. Updates were a part of that. 31.5% of that volume. Updates were actually down just a tiny little bit, a 1%. Transmissions were down as well, 1.5%, 1.1 million. Last year, 1.2, and transmissions year to date are actually up. Transmissions this year are at 7.1 million. Last year, they were at 6.7 at this point in the year. So a 5.9, let's say a 6% increase in transmissions as well. As always, the difference between the locate request and the transmission. Locate request or ticket, one item, putting in a fence. In that area where that fence is going in, there might be water, sewer, gas, fiber, and electric. So there would be 5 transmissions for that one locate request. That's the difference between the two. Right now, on average, for every single locate request that comes in, there are 5.4 utilities notified. Let's talk ticket volume for the month of June. New tickets were down in Mecklenburg County, 11.7%. And you can see pretty much across the board, 3 hours, cancellations, new tickets, retransmits, updates, all down. Total tickets were down as well. Total tickets include retransmits and updates. Total tickets were at 29,320 for the month of June. That is a 13.7% decrease over June of 2022. Average locates per day for Mecklenburg County for the month of June were 1,333 locates per day. Let's do year-to-date ticket volume, and this is again January 1 through June 30. New tickets were down 5%, 99,681. Total tickets were down 0.4%. 185,912 locate requests year to date. Ticket distribution for Mecklenburg County, of those 29,320 requests for the month of June, 23,700 were in Charlotte, Cornelius 1222, Huntersville 1835, and then Matthews, Davidson, Mint Hill, Pineville, Providence, and Clear Creek. Of the tickets called in for the month, the big guys for the month, the top 10 were AT&T, Mears, Utility Lines, LKN Underground, Phoenix Fiber, Metrotech, Ansco, Pike in there 2 times, and Prince Telecom. Prince Telecom's been doing work for Google, unless you tell me they're doing some work for someone else as well. Those were the top 10 folks that called in tickets this month. Damage events for Mecklenburg County, 159 damage events were reported for the month of June. For the state, 1,130 damage events were reported. Wake was 221. I'm so glad you asked. We switched around this month. But yeah, for Mecklenburg County, 159 damage events reported this month. Y'all don't forget that next month is 811 Day, August the 11th. Help us spread that message of safe digging. Please visit the website for talking points. I know that North Carolina 811 will be at the Charlotte Knights ballpark on the 11th with Piedmont Natural Gas and the Mini X, handing out things, talking to folks, and educating the public. So please feel free to join us out there. I know some of the other liaisons have other events that day as well. This bunch of misfits is your education team. Nah, they're okay. They'll do. I kind of like them. That's your education team. As always, a copy of this presentation will be available at ncucc.org, as well as a copy of the roster. If you haven't signed in, please make sure you sign in before you leave. For those folks online, I believe everybody already entered their information in the chat section. I have one other thing before I turn this back over to Roger. The Cabarrus Rowan Stanley UCC is holding a damage prevention luncheon on Thursday, August the 10th. They're going to meet from 11 to 1:30 at the City of Kannapolis, 401 Laureate Way in Kannapolis food, door prizes, and then some brief safety demonstrations from Dominion, Duke, Piedmont Natural Gas, the City of Kannapolis, the City of Concord, and North Carolina 811. You should have gotten an invite. I sent out an invite through Constant Contact, inviting you to attend. We are looking for you to RSVP to make sure we have enough food for everyone. Cabarrus Row and Stanley and surrounding counties. There's an RSVP on this sheet if you want to take one with you, or if you want me to send you an invite directly, please let me know and I will send you an invite to that. Does anyone have any questions for me? With that, I'm going to turn this back over to Roger.
Talking about the heat stress in that video you were showing reminded me, I'd got an email and I was trying to go back through, and I don't remember if it was last week, week before last, 57-year-old male, first week on the job. Now this was in Texas on a big construction site. He worked for a concrete contractor. You know, the article obviously says that they didn't give him any breaks, no shade or anything like that. Starts feeling bad. They put him in the pickup truck to try to cool him off. He only gets worse, so they take him to the medical room on site, start treating him there, call 911, and prior to the first responders getting there, he passed away. So the heat is a big thing. I know Texas and here's a little bit different, but you know, our temperatures is in the 90s, but the humidity is outrageous. So think about that. Take care of your people. Make sure, again, they're drinking plenty of fluids. Just to help you, OSHA requires the employer to supply
I
the water and
have
stuff.
seen the figure, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. Most of those heat-related illness happen to someone who are in their first or second week.
Yeah.
If you're used to being outside, you're more acclimated, not that it's not still hot, but you're a little more acclimated to that temperature than someone who is brand new.
Right. And as a lot of you know, Fed OSHA did come out with a heat injury illness standard. So if you work on a federal project, you will fall under that. And it does talk about acclimatization to where if you do get a new hire that's not coming from another construction company that's new to the field, their first day is they're only allowed to work 2 hours that day. The second day, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours. They have to build up to it. That is that acclimatization period for that first week of employment. North Carolina did not adopt it. That standard is still in the process of being written. There's some changes coming out on it. I'm be honest with you, I feel like it's probably going to be another 2 years before you see it here in North Carolina, due to the fact that the Commissioner of Labor is not running for re-election next year. So I think that's going to have a lot to do with it. Plus, even after all of the changes is put in, still has to go to legislative to be changed in the law. So you're looking at a minimum of a year to get that done. So sitting on that committee, I can tell you it's going to be 2 years before North Carolina sees it. So with that, going back to the numbers, yes, we were a little low last month. I don't know, the contributing factor on that is a lot of the Google internet stuff slowing down. I can tell you we're not slowing down. I'm sure Charlotte Water's not slowing down. Heath, I know y'all locating Sam, y'all probably running wide open too. You know, so, but it was good to see that our 3-hour tickets were down
27%.
27%, which, you know, rough guessing, that's taking a little over 100 tickets a day, normal, off of the locator. So hopefully they're able to spend more time on each ticket to get it located correctly, or not miss anything, or, you know, if it's unlocatable, get it passed on where it can be taken care of. But yeah, that was good to see. You know, again, everybody's busy and all of that. Has anybody got any questions on the tickets or anything before we move on to damages and all that good stuff? Joel, are you gonna cover damages?
I can do that for gas, yeah.
All right.
Sorry. Okay, thank you. In June, we had 55 damages, gas damages. And comparing that to May, there were 58 in May, so a little bit of improvement. Unfortunately, the percentage went from in May to 73% of the 73% of the top 3 damages, root causes were in May, and 78% of the top 3 root causes were in June. So there's a similar amount of damages, but the percentage because of the change in root causes, in no particular order. Locate error, excavator failed to maintain, and no notification. Those 3 always, they kind of rotate who's number 1, you know? It's the same 3 every month. Now, a bit of good news for the state of North Carolina. This isn't just for Mecklenburg. The last 3 years, I have the DPT damage per thousand. In 21, it was 2.3 damage per thousand tickets. And in 22, it was 2.17, so an improvement. And so far this year, 1.89. So overall, in the state, we're doing a lot better. Pretty consistent in Mecklenburg, though. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and like we were saying, those 3 are always the top 3. I know from a contractor standpoint, a lot of times we'll pothole it and we'll hit damage it potholing, or we'll expose it and then the side of the bank will fall in and the gas line breaks. You know, that's stuff that we've had happen to us. You try to do everything possible, but it still happens. That's you know, the unfortunate side to it. But it is good to hear that for the state, though, it's down. So the damage prevention's working, you know, and that's proof right there. Working together with these UCC meetings, making these contacts and all of that, it is what I'd say is what's helping with them numbers. With that. Uh-huh. Okay, we'll go to Tracy with Charlotte Water.
No, I always have the numbers.
Well,
Maybe. We'll pass it back down now. All right, so in June, AT&T was hit 4 times when it was marked, 1 when it wasn't marked. Spectrum was hit. Spectrum was hit twice when it was marked, once when it wasn't marked. TDS was marked once when it was marked, once when it wasn't marked. Energy United was hit once when it was marked. TPC, Duke Power, was hit once when it was marked. P&G was hit once when we called the wrong address in, so it wasn't marked, but it was our fault. And once when it wasn't marked. Verizon was hit once when it was marked. I don't call the tickets. Anyway, so water, we had 2 water mains hit and 22 services hit. Sewer, we had 2 sewer mains hit and 10 services hit. That's all I got.
but I think house numbers are on everybody's house. So the wrong address, that sounds like something I would do. Uh, But I skipped Daniel, so I feel bad about that. Let me move back here to him.
Yeah, nothing really. I'll just say, as you all know, Don is retired. So as we transgression moving forward into this new phase for us, we just asked me and George asked you just kind of work with us. We're trying to make sure that we get everyone taken care of. As you see, thankfully the numbers are down this month, but there's still a lot of tickets. So we're doing our best to make sure everybody's taken care of. So if you don't have me or George's number, get with us after, please. We'll make sure that we take care of you guys.
Say, he didn't know about all that, man. Well, I was gonna say, I called George 2 weeks ago, was it, George? Probably, give or take. And he answered me. He's not like you. So, uh, but no, Daniel, just like you were saying, uh, if you don't have our number, ask us. So making them contacts, that relationship to where if there is an issue and we can prevent that damage by making that phone call, that's what these meetings is about. Working together, as we always say, years ago, we never could work together. It was always your fault or my fault. Yeah, it's headbutting. That's a good way to put it, Tammy. And we've got past all of that, and we're able to pick up the phone and call somebody and say, "Hey, I don't think something's marked, or I think something's here that wasn't," and all of that. You mind coming out? And that might be 30 minutes. It might be an hour. But what is that versus if you do hit it? How long are you down? And it seems like when we make those calls, it's pretty quick. We get people there. So, I'll say I appreciate that, and I'm sure everybody else does too, as long as they don't take advantage of it. That's the biggest thing.
Stress in this heat is cleaning up our own house. We're getting tickets from like one company, and then the next the subcontractor will call it in, and then the subcontractor after that will call it in, and it's all the same place. And
By law, they have to do that. That's just, and I'm not going to say funny you say that. It's a coincidence you say that, because I was, had a conversation with a locator Monday, and he was saying, well, y'all have got tickets here, 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 and here, but your crew's here. And I said, how about pulling them tickets up for me and tell me who called that ticket in? Well, when he named the superintendent, I said, well, that's the superintendent over the boring crew. So the boring crew is going to be somewhere that the pipe crew's not. Same project, big project, but our tickets are different because we've got different crews working there. And I had to explain that to him because all he seen was our name.
I got a question for.
Say that again, Lewis.
Oh, I didn't say.
It was. Go ahead.
Hey,
I had it. Yeah, it was
sorry,
Tristan. I got a quick question. On those sewer lateral services that were hit, but those aren't wired, so those aren't marked, right?
correct.
Okay, so they were just reporting the damages, but not. I mean, there's not. There wouldn't have been a ticket.
There would have been, and most of those that I report on, they've been reported. And because they're in our right of ways, we still charge for them because we have to repair them. They can't.
Gotcha. Okay, I got you. Thanks.
I'm going to move down here to Kyle.
Roger, I just want to say your point is really important about the fact that there will be multiple people working in the same location, multiple companies, multiple parts of crews, and we encourage people to recognize that you don't go by the marks of somebody else. Don't trust that somebody else went ahead and did it. You need to have a valid ticket in your hand, because when push comes to shove and something gets cut, fingers will be pointing. And if you can't produce a valid ticket for your work, saying that you were out there and saw marks and that doesn't that doesn't exonerate you from the fact that you did not have a valid ticket. So we're very interested in these no-call damages, and in some cases, what we saw was people thought somebody else had did it, or they saw marks, they thought it was okay to work off those marks. That doesn't it doesn't end up relieving you of that responsibility. So we just want to stress that we're really focused on these no-call damages and trying to notify people and make them aware that we're aware. The Locate Resolution Partnership Committee meeting in about 15 minutes will be talking about it as well. CGA is talking about it. And the second thing that CGA is going to be talking about quite a bit are locates, late locates. How do those late locates impact excavators? And it's a multitude of different ways that it happens. There's direct impact. Obviously, if you're held up for your work, having to call in a 3-hour and that kind of thing. But I think a secondary impact is the general sense of the process. Is it working? Is it going to work for me in the future? If it didn't work for me in the past, maybe I can't trust it. Maybe I can't really believe I'm going to get marks within 3 full business days. So maybe my behavior changes, or I'm either going to send in request more tickets to cover more area, hoping that something gets done, or guess what? Some of them don't call in some circumstances. And that's what we saw in the study we did. Most of those people that did a damage are typically people who called in the past. So they made some kind of conscious decision not to. So late locates can impact all that. And I say all this just to let everybody know to seatbelt yourself in for next year, because it's about to go off the chain in terms of the amount of excavation in the state of North Carolina. It's going to be fiber. It's going to be the rural grants. It's going to be infrastructure of pipe replacement, lead pipe replacement. All this money is getting released end of this year, into the first quarter of next year. And if you think it's busy now, I'm just telling you to brace yourself. That's my happy, joy piece of information to share with you.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Lewis. Oh, by the way, I'm not going to make that meeting in 15 minutes. Just let you know that.
That's all right. I'll say a few words for you.
Yeah, I'm sure. Thank you. Dustin with Price Brothers, I got a question up there, and this is for the locators, is why don't we use flags along with paint? And I'm gonna go to George first, then I'll go back to Heath. That way we get it from 2 different, or Daniel, or.
We do use flags for Charlotte Water. Obviously, if it's in the road, we can't use the flags. But is there any specifics that you have on not using flags? Oh, they're just typing. Oh, he's typing now. Different utilities.
Okay. You got to hold a little close to speak loud.
Okay. Well, like Dan was saying, a lot of the new construction you guys calling tickets for, it's usually getting regraded and the flags just get destroyed along with the marks. We also put offsets to help alleviate that, but we will bring that up to our department and hopefully it'll get better for you to see the flags.
All right, Dustin, I'm gonna move to Heath also and let them answer for you too. Oh yeah. Hey, I'd like to get that when we're not on. Damn, I walked right by him. When we get offline, I'd like to get that Duke rep's name from you. But here's Cody with Heath.
Yeah, I would say the same for payment natural gas. We use flags as well. It's actually supposed to be used for every 3rd mark. We're supposed to use a flag and everything. I know for Price Brothers, they do like new sewer installs, new water installs. So they might run into the issues where it gets graded over, someone pulls them up, but there should still be evidence of flags around. They pull them up, but they don't like take them home with them. They'll be laying on the ground somewhere or something like that. I would say if you're out there and you don't see any evidence of any flags, even just pulled up on the side on the ground or anything, that would just reach out and let somebody put one, or specifically you don't see any female natural gas flags at all, let me know and I can help out, make sure we get that done. Because it is supposed to help, especially in construction areas for the flags. It's extra evidence of gas being installed in the area. We would always say trust the paint more because the flag can be moved, but no, the flags helps let you know something is there.
Yeah, Dustin, I think with what y'all do is gonna be hard, and I'm gonna say on everybody, the locators and y'all, Price Brothers and everything, unless you're gonna be the first ones in there. That way your marks is protected. One other suggestion on that is maybe if somebody was there early, they could go ahead and video it. Then you have a record there of where the marks were and possibly go back and look. Carl's typing. We're gonna see what Carl's got here,
Look,
right? Hey,
look,
Carl.
hey, man. Yeah, I was just typing my name and that I was in the meeting. That's all. But the light changed, so I stopped typing.
Oh, okay. Let me move over here to Kyle now, since I done tried it a couple times.
Business is good, and we're doing both sides now. We're doing the private locating, and we've had companies contact us about doing public locating for them too. And in a lot of situations, they're in the same boat. They're frustrated with the ticket system and other public locate companies taking a lot of time. And I wanted to kind of mention this. It wasn't at this particular UCC meeting, but it was another one. And somebody asked, why is it taking forever for the tickets to get done? And I'm not going to name the public locate company, but y'all can probably figure it out. The guy said, we're covered up. We just got too many contracts. Well, yeah. Sanders, if somebody approaches Sanders and you got work you can't get to work for 5 years, you're going to tell the guy, hey, if you're willing to wait on this for 5 years, we'll get to you, but you probably better go on with somebody else because we're covered up. Locate companies are the only ones that aren't like that. Hey, let's grab every contract we can and not be able to staff it. So the problem is you can't get to a locate for 5 freaking weeks. Stop grabbing contracts. I mean, it's simple as that. So when I was at ANSCO, we had a conversation before the light gig stuff happened. Out in Greenville County in South Carolina, we sat down with the head managers and said, hey, we're going to have this project and this is what we expect. And this is how many tickets we're calling in. It's how much work we're doing. And they said, oh yeah, we'll hire the people. And then they never told the supervisors to go hire anybody. So there's as far as talking, I guess, to Lewis, I mean, when you guys sit down with locate companies and contractors, that's something you need to bring up. How come you're grabbing all these contracts, but you're not hiring the amount of people to cover it? That's why your tickets are getting backed up.
Well, that may be one piece of it, but one of the things to remember about the locate business is it is a business where it makes sense for them to have multiple folks in the same ticket. In other words, if they're working for 2 or 3 different people on the same ticket, it's a cost benefit to them, right? They're already on the site and they're doing these other things. Does that stretch the time that they're there on each job? Absolutely. Absolutely, it does. And I don't know if if you guys are hiring or what your situation is, but I can tell you, being an employer myself and trying to hire people and get people in to do even our work, to take calls and that, it's very difficult. We struggle even after if we hire 4 people, we know 2 of them aren't going to make it probably in the first 30 days. With locating, it's not, you can't just drop and play them, hire somebody and throw them out in the field in a week. They've got to get trained And unfortunately, the locate business is not looked at, and this is really a pitiful thing, but it's not seen as a profession that is given a lot of credit like it should for the type of work that they have to do. I feel like sometimes those folks aren't paid enough. They're just not recognized for the type of work they have to do. It's hot. They're out there all day long. It's dangerous. They're out there on the sides of the roads. It's one of those things that I'm not going to dispute with you, that they have a requirement that they should be managing the workload they have and doing it on time. It's certainly a stress on the process, but they're absolutely one of the stakeholders that helps to keep all this roll, as best they can.
Oh, I agree with you there. There's a lot of us trying to, and including you, trying to make this a profession, trying to, do what we can to build it up to where we're hiring the right type of people, we're attracting the right type of people. So, I mean, we need to continue that conversation. But yeah, I totally agree with you right there.
And they get poached. So you get somebody who's good, they're working for one of the contract locators, and one of the other, entities that has their own private, their own locators locating their facilities go, hey, how'd you like to just have to do one, and we'll pay you an extra $3 or $4 an hour. And now, bam, you just took somebody out of the herd who was experienced, that is now, doing something else. So it's a cutthroat game out there. With the locating in general, I'm just going to tell you, I don't see myself ever wanting to be in the locate business. I feel for those people who are doing it, from the top to the bottom. I listened to Robert Yu yesterday over at the Wake UCC. Took a virtual beating, quite frankly, from about 5 or 6 different people. And he was very calm and was looking into the individual instances and handling it. But it's a tough job. And again, not an excuse for delays or lateness, but just hopefully people will look around and wear their shoes for a hot minute and recognize, maybe it's a little bit challenging at this moment, especially with the growth that we're seeing.
That's right. And talking with everybody, and I'm gonna say everybody that's online in this room and everything else, everybody needs help. I mean, we're trying to hire everybody that walks in the door, and like Lewis was saying, he hires 4, only 2 stays. When you hire somebody, you can just about say, yeah, they're gonna make it 2 weeks. And locating should be a profession. I do agree to that, because from a contractor standpoint, we're relying on the locators to get it marked and marked properly, which in turn protects our people. Okay, so we all work together. Everybody's got a profession, and that should be considered a profession, and not just I'm just a utility locator.
A profession, but what you really mean is it needs to be recognized as a trade.
Yes, I agree 100%
Yes,
with
absolutely.
that.
That's right. And there should be some standards around it, and there should be some kinds of, maybe some certification that gives you a leg up on somebody that shows that you're certified. I mean, we like to see locating happen, really engaged even at the community college levels, get people into those professions earlier, and start to build up that workforce. It's not going to slow down, folks. So we need those bodies out there, and we need experienced people doing it. And Raj, I got to fly to the LRPC, but great job as always, and we'll catch you on the flip.
All right, buddy. Thank you. No, you was talking about something else. So.
Well, that's Cody again. He wants me to talk for some reason. But actually, I remember when I was with Kyle actually about a year or 2 ago back in Greenville and everything. We was with ANSCO, and that was really part of it. When I went to Greenville the first time, we had literally, I started down there with 4 locators for 2 whole counties, and ANSCO, Kyle can vouch for it. They were putting in fiber huge then at that time. They had more contractors I can count on everybody's hands and toes in this room. That's just the contractors, not the people working for them. They have more crews than that. But it comes down to the workload needs to be managed based on the quality of the locator. So like the quality of locator is what we had the hardest time with. We have one that could be here for 2 years, like you said. He gets so well experienced and he maxes out to what we can give him here. Well, it's not his fault for wanting to pursue his profession somewhere else or even become his own leader somewhere else. So it's a revolving door all the time. It's like we have people come in, our average level expectancy of people staying with us is usually about 2 to 4 years. Like we don't have very many people that's been here more than 5 years. And that's not because we're doing anything wrong to them or anything. It's just because opportunities always present themselves to better themselves. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just how this business is. So it's tough. It's tough staying staff. And it's tough because like you can never predict ticket volume. You can only, for us, our business, it's 3 days. We can only see the next 3 days. I mean, because that's how tickets. Today, everything's getting called in. It's going to be due what? Next Monday. I don't know what's going to be due next Tuesday, next Wednesday, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now. I don't know what you got. You know what you got planned 2 months from now. I don't. Right. I don't. I won't know what's planned until the next 3 days, which is what. Yeah. Calling tickets down. Oh, call them in now. But that's what it comes down to. It makes it hard for us. Is I'll go ahead, Court. I'll let you go.
No, we you guys talking about locating. You know, I've got 40 years experience, been a locator, running operations, and I'm still running one. I give LRPC and some of the other. I've brought this up before in the past, and it's been years ago, and nobody wants to listen. But the problem is the operators have no. They give all their locates to one company, and then they don't have any competition. And without competition, you can't get your work done. Anybody that's ever had one contractor, they can never get their work done. If they have multiple contractors, for some reason, they can always get their work done. And, you know, I know, look, ITS has been locating now for over 3 years. We've had 3 damages in 3 years, and I think we're pushing 80 some thousand odd locate tickets. Do the math. It's really good. But we tried to get the operators to let us locate just for us. We don't want emergencies. We don't want grandma planting bushes. We just want to locate our tickets, take the noise out of the system. We'd be in charge of our locates. We'd be in charge of, you know, it's a win-win for the operator because we're locating it and we're also digging it, you know. It'd be a win-win if there was a damage, and it'd give us more incentives not to damage tickets, but that got pooed because operators didn't want to go that way. But again, we talk about locate community, and we talk about the work that's coming. The operators have to ramp up for that. They just have to meet the demand. I mean, it's their responsibility to do that. I mean, but at the end of the day, I've always said competition. If they had 2 or 3 different locate companies to give them tickets to, they're going to get them done better and quicker because of the competition. With the lack of competition, the work doesn't get completed. But that's all I really got to say about that. Roger?
You know, Court, I got something on that though, but you know, you talk about the competition, and yes, competition is good, but if that other competitor is saying I can get them done quicker with less damages, but they don't have the people, you know, I can tell you, I can go out there and locate it right now, you know, and have 0 damages, but I ain't got nobody to go do it. But I'm gonna do everything I can to get that contract.
Right. Well, I just, you know, I had 40 years experience with Dominion Energy, okay? PSNC Energy. We had in-house locators, and then we have contract locators. And anyone's that dealt with the gas company, do you ever have an issue getting paint on the ground? The answer is no, because we had contractors and in-house people. We had resources to pull from a couple different contractors plus the in-house. And in the Dominion Energy regions, I don't think you ever had any problems because they had the people and the staffing, and they ramped up to whatever it took to get the work done. And you know, it's a mindset, and like I say, but it's the operator's responsibility to get there though. You know, it's not we all have to work together. We have to communicate. We have to talk, but you know. But we still have to, and everybody has to make a living and get the work done.
And that's the biggest thing, is getting the work done, you know, just like us as a contractor, when we're awarded that contract and then we get that notice to proceed, we've got a deadline that thing has to be done by, or we
Yeah.
start paying liquidated damages. And I hate to go to that, but is that something that may need to be looked at? Is all right, if this locating firm says that, yes, they're going to get these locates done and they're going to be done on time. If they're not done in those 72 hours, what is the penalty for it? Right now, nothing.
Correct.
So if something, so other states are doing, there's a fine. Okay. Let me get back here to Bo. Bo. No, Bo. No, you done started. So I'm going to come back here to you.
What do you want?
Don't say what you were saying so everybody else can hear you.
In other states, that's not the case. There's a fine for the not getting your tickets done on time.
What's the fine?
I don't know. I don't live in those other states.
But there's repercussions for not getting it done. Right. So, I mean, you hate to say, is that something North Carolina needs to start looking at? And Daniel, are you raising your hand, or you just, all right, I'm coming to you. You know, that way it keeps all of these locate companies honest, Court, you know, and
Well-
hopefully they get done on time.
Well, we're all in this together, like I say, but the operators have to make it important. They have to do that. If they make it important, it'll get done.
Right. All right, Daniel.
I'll speak on this from two perspectives. My prior profession, I was a foreman for the power company in Texas. And to speak along the fines that Bo spoke of is we actually used to charge a travel trip. We would call in the ticket, and then, you know, you give them the 72 hours, you know, we'd give them additional, if it wasn't done, maybe 1 or 2 additional days. And if we went out, it was a travel trip. Now, on the locator side, I will say, I'll just use me specifically. I deal with the critical facilities, the code 55s. I can tell y'all a number of tickets that I get in that my locators followed the directions that were called in on the ticket, which may say both sides of the road or whatever. We have a critical facility in that area. And then the first thing I get from the contractor is, oh, we're not going that deep, or we don't have the equipment to spot that. That's not my job. My job is to locate it, tell you it's a critical facility. The other half of it too is it's not a finger pointing, it's just an example that me and George came across. One of my locators had a locate that called for both sides of the road. It gave an address. On this particular road, there's a 30-inch and there's an 8-inch. The actual location of the work was in the back of a high school, nowhere near that road. So the time that my locator spent to try to locate that 30 and that 8 and those services, you could be more descriptive in that ticket to actually say where you're working. So when we talk about the workload and what's not being closed, it's a simple communication line between the both of us. If it's more, I've called in hundreds of thousands of tickets when I work with power, so I know it can be done. So if we're more descriptive on our tickets, we can work a whole lot faster, because I've just had 2 projects where I was trying to set up traffic control only to find out, oh no, we're already done with that. We actually was working on a school campus. And it's like, my person was worried about not getting hit, but wanting to get this job done, only to find out that it actually wasn't needed. But what was called in was actually going to be about 6 mains and all of them critical. So had I said, well, y'all called it in, I need y'all to spot them anyway, then I would be wasting your dollar like my dollar was wasted. So it really boils down to the ticket load is a communication level. If we get caught in what we're actually doing, our guys will mark them a whole lot faster. We're not going to spend time over-locating something that doesn't need to be located.
And I agree with you on that. We've talked about it before about being more on point on these tickets of what you're wanting located, instead of saying both sides of the road and they're only going to be working on the east side of it all the way down, you know, but now y'all are out there trying to do east side, west side, north side, south side, whatever, when only that one side could be done. And as Tracy said earlier too, about cleaning your house, you know, take a lot of these tickets out that's not needed. That would help too. If you got any damages or anything you want to talk about, or you just going to stick with what Joel said? Well, I was hoping you'd dispute with him just for the heck of it, but.
Hey, Roger, like I said, again, there's room for improvement all the way around, but I'm going to jump off here and go over to the LRPC too, because I needed to get in with those guys some today too. But you guys have a great day.
All right, buddy. Thank you, Court.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
We move back here to the back row. You got anything? You ain't that old to be forgetting that soon. That's right.
Down 1% this month, last month.
It might be up 4%. I am still gonna stop at you, even though you said, no, you got anything from the state level? UCC.
I I do not, just our upcoming meeting in September, will be in Wilmington. So. The You just sent out the invite. That's why it's fresh in your memory. Thanks, Tammy.
Anything else?
No.
Oh, you got anything else?
I'll ask you a question. I don't care. As a contractor yourself, do you feel like 811 is more geared now towards hammering the contractor or the locate industry? I'm just curious what you think.
From the 811 standpoint, that process is easy. Being able to put your tickets in remotely plus call in, because we've got one guy, him and computers don't even get along. He don't even know how to turn them on. So he's still old fashioned and calls his tickets in. That works great. Yeah, I mean, it's easy on him. Then the remote ticket entry is easy on everybody else. They're taking the tickets, processing them, then it gets to the locate. Okay. Then we're getting the emails of, can't get your ticket today, you know, all of that. But those emails don't seem to come across until 5:45, 6 p.m. The day the ticket's due. That's the issue that I have from a contractor standpoint. I mean, I get that email as soon as it comes across, you know, that it's going to be delayed, or they'll call. And a lot of times with our tickets, when we know that they're due up, we're there that next day, ready to work, because, you know, it goes back to our contract that we've got to be done by this date, or we're paying X amount of dollars a day for liquidated damages. So yeah, we depend on these locates to be done so that we can do our work. I don't know if that answered your question or not. I know. It's not, in my opinion, nothing against 811. They're doing their processing. They're and to me, that's not 811's fault. Because it's, you know, their process is done by taking the ticket and sending it. Then it's not just them.
Now I got to check positive response. Check positive response. I ain't got it. I call in 3-hour notice. I still got to wait another 3 hours. Still nobody shows up. How many times I got?
If you, one time, because after that, if you read it, it'll say that the contractor done his due diligence. If you've checked positive response and there's nothing there, or my mind just went blank on code for not being done. 30, is it 30? 30? Okay. And then you do that 3-hour ticket. All right, you checked your it's obvious you checked your positive response because you did a 3-hour ticket. From a contractor standpoint, I'm gonna tell you how I interpret the law. I've checked positive response. They put a code 30. I did a 3-hour ticket. If they don't show up after that, we're going to work because we did our due diligence. It's obvious we did the positive response because we did the 3-hour ticket. After the 3-hour ticket, you're covered under due diligence. You got to read that law. Dude. But, hey, Mr. Robert, what you got with Piedmont, buddy?
I don't have anything.
You ain't got nothing to say. Everybody been picking on you and everything else, and you ain't got nothing to say.
The guy that was up there that does the locating, I was gonna let him know that, anyone that locates gas for us, they have to be operator qualified. If he's not operator qualified, only located to private services, not anything mains or anything. If he puts down yellow paint and something happens, it's on him. It's not on me, but we don't want him locating.
Yeah, they gotta be contracted with you.
Yes.
I mean, that'd be like me going out there, hooking up, and putting yellow paint on the ground. But I'm not hired by you to do that. I'm not a Piedmont Natural Gas representative. Not qualified in your eyes, no.
And it like so it's supposed to be for any utility owner, they're the only ones who are qualified to put the paint down. Because we ran into the issue at a hospital, ISS, some kind of surveying company, whatever, they put yellow, orange, blue, green, and flags on everything. Does that not cause a conflict with the utility owner? They're not the contract locators, but they're putting down the same color paint. They're privately located, right? Yeah, I was like, I don't know the actual like paint law, if there even is a paint law. No, that's something actually that Lewis talked about, that we should probably do that though. Like there should probably be a natural, like if you're gonna be a locator in state of North Carolina, not just the utility owner should have a certification, but you should probably have like your own, just so there's always a fallback to of like the person that located has this. If he screws up to the point to where he shouldn't be locating anymore, I can make him unqualified in the state of North Carolina to not locate anymore until he's qualified again. It is. Is it? Right. That's what it should be though, and honestly though. 'Cause I mean, both ways, it's like if you're wrong, you're wrong. That's the way I've always been too. If we're wrong or if a facility owner's wrong, it don't matter, but mhm. Yeah. Yeah, we got 3 years of PNG. Yep. Yep. Yeah. But that was just going back to the paint thing. Like I said, I don't know if there's an actual rule on paint or not. Of like, no, obviously we put down paint for pure natural gas that's yellow. Can UPA or ISS put down yellow paint too? I guess it's more of a Tammy question maybe for 811, but is that allowed in 811? I don't know. Right. Yeah. Right. I was the only question on that one.
Yeah, that one's got a catch 22 to it right there. George, did you have anything you want to add on that? I mean, no. Okay. I just making sure. Well, we were looking and both of us and all that. Yeah. Uh, I only see 2 left online, Tristan and Dustin. Tristan, you got anything?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Dustin, you got anything else, buddy? And we appreciate you being on here. I know, Lord, I know y'all busy just like we are too. So, if nobody has anything, is it next month? And I'm waiting on Dustin, but I'm gonna move on just in case. Oh, he's got, no, sir, I'm good. Is it next month or? Yeah, I got that, but I can't, I'd have to go back through him. Anyway, next meeting, August 30th, the big thing is, and me and Tammy can't remember, is it's either August and September, we need to have somebody sponsor the meeting, have it at your facility, or it's September, October. Right. What about zone 2? We've met there before, but that's been, okay. Yeah, just let, I thought all of them. Unless, y'all ain't got nowhere to meet. That's, if it was just this crowd, we could meet at my office. But by the time we do that, there'll be 30 people show up and I can't have that many people. Okay. Right. All right. No, because it's hot outside. Yeah, but Robert can't speak for Duke. And well, Dan's on the LRPC meeting. So, yeah, we could reach out to Dan and see, but I'd venture to say no on that. Oh, yeah, we ain't been there in a while. Yeah. Yeah, Matthews, we did. I'm not doing a virtual meeting. We're going to do in person. We have to do it at a restaurant. Daniel pay for lunch. I will do it in person. Hey, Daniel, how you doing, bud? Tell me that meeting, we're gonna be passing the plate. Oh, George kicking me in the shin as I walk by. So, okay. So on the invite, pay attention to it. Cause it may not be here. Maybe at Charlotte Water, it might be as Ray was saying, out in the parking lot. We could check August 30th. We can meet at any of my job sites. I don't mind. We can meet out there on W.T. Harris at Hickory Grove. We can try to find that gas line. We'll all work out there together. It's in the road and you know, talking about working together, that does bring me to that. Now it took us about 3 months to be able to get it worked out. It's actually took us longer than that. Trying to find the gas line every way possible. Now we're to the point to where Piedmont is actually going out there tomorrow night to dig down on it. Yeah, right where we gotta be. Yep, right where we gotta be is where we lose it. So, but I'll contribute that to these meetings, making contacts. I mean, Cody, we spent what, 2 or 3 hours out there one day dodging traffic playing Frogger on East W.T. Harris and